Yeah.
Yeah. Guitar string.
Something a little different. Y'all check this out.
Talladega to Daytona, Bristol, Charlotte, and Sonoma. We are NASCAR.
Welcome, y'all.
Hey!
That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 80 for Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace, joining the PETM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Well, we survived Snow Jam 2017, at least for the moment. So
right.
Why don't we just have a little sip here and then
we'll
get right
sip,
into the show.
Cheers. How about this intro song? What do you think about this thing, huh?
It's the best thing to happen to the PETM podcast since its inception.
I'll tell you what, without further ado, the reason that we are playing this song is we have today Nashville recording artist by way of Iowa and an avid NASCAR fan, and also the artist that created and performed this song you're hearing right here, Sydney Lett. Sydney, what's happening? I might have lost Sydney. Sydney, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I mashed the wrong button.
What happened?
I know. All this professional sounding stuff, and then we go straight down the drain. That's PETM Podcast.
Well, it's all good.
You sounded like R2-D2 there for a minute. My Star Wars fangirl was going off. I was like, hello? Is that you?
That'll happen. You know
we like to learn on the fly.
That song is when I'm at a loss for words, and people who've been following along for a while know that when Rusty gets lost for words, it's important or he's passionate about it. But
yeah.
Sherwin sent that song over to. He forwarded it over to me. I pulled it up and I said, "Dude, this song is perfect." That's the words I use. I can show you the text. It's amazing.
I'm gonna cry over here. Thank you so much.
What was well, we know what the inspiration was, but what was it like making that song?
Honestly, it was absolutely amazing. I had a couple friends. I had a friend actually jokingly was like, you should write the theme song for Cup for next year. And I was like, all right, well, that's a challenge. So I went into a write with two of my really good friends, Jen Kettner and Brian Mayer. He's had a bunch of Justin Moore hits. He's a really big writer.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So I went in, and they're NASCAR fans somewhat, but they don't follow it a ton. So I'm like, all right, like, we had a write scheduled. I'm like, I need to write a NASCAR theme song. And they both just look at me. And they're like, okay, so what are we doing with it? I'm like, we're just going to, record it, see what happens. So we wrote it in about an hour, and it just kind of happened really greatly. And my friend Brian was like, all right, well, we need to record this at one of, my favorite studios. So he calls a friend of his named Jay, and I wasn't really sure which Jay that was, and it ended up being Jay DeMarcus from Rascal Flatts.
Oh, wow.
We got to record that. Yeah, we got to record that at his house with his studio musicians, his producers, and it was probably the coolest experience of my life. He has most amazing setup. He has the coolest Ford Raptor I've ever seen. I was fangirling crazily about it, yeah. And, of course, I show up at the studio, and I drove my 66 Mustang there, which the brakes suck on, and his driveway's at an angle. So I pulled in the wrong driveway. My emergency brake decided to stop working. I'm like, this is going to be a disaster. But it turned out really, really well.
What a cool story for that one song. That is so neat. And I would have never thought, me and Sherwin, we were listening to it together earlier, and he said, those lyrics, just being able to, I would never have thought Daytona and Sonoma. Of course, they kind of rhyme, but it's cool to come up with. I
get all of them in there, so it just kind of flew together. Probably the quickest song we've written that happened that effortlessly, honestly.
Well, I'm a big fan of the fast-paced, a lot of electric guitar, but still country music sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked it.
Yeah,
it was a fun one. It's a little out of my little country girl element because we had all the rock guitars and then they recut stuff. But, like, the revving engine in the beginning with the guitar, I, almost lost my mind. I'm like, how did you do that on a Gibson? Like, what is happening?
That's so cool. Well, we start the show off the same way every week, and love asking our guests, what you drinking today, Sydney?
I am drinking Starbucks. I know that's a shock, right?
No, it's not.
If you follow Sydney on Twitter, you're going to know a lot about Starbucks.
A lot about it. Literally all of it. It's really sad when your local Starbucks follows you on Twitter and Instagram, and actual Starbucks followed me on Twitter. So, yeah, I think I've accomplished something great here.
That's kind of funny. I mean, well, we've got, at this point, we've got more Starbucks guests.
Connoisseurs.
Between you and Weaver, and I don't. It seems like there was one other. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, that's perfectly
It's
fine.
funny.
Got to get caffeinated.
So I'm drinking on this. What is it, Joe? It's by 10 Barrel Brewing out of Bend, Oregon, and I just saw it. It was just called Joe IPA, and I said, "Well, Joe, I'm gonna drink your IPA," and so we've got that one on there.
Sounds so wrong.
Right, Sherwin, what you got?
Well, since I robbed your fridge, I also have a Joe IPA
Please.
from 10 Barrel Brewing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got the sweet stuff there, too.
On deck there.
Yeah.
So, y'all, Jim Beam, just as a caution, they've released a new bottle, and there's a new pour cap on that bottle. And that pour cap comes out like Niagara Falls. And if you're used to doing like a 6 or 8 count on the pour cap, and then you do that, you've almost filled a glass up with Jim Beam. And, you know, you can't pour it back in. So,
No.
yeah.
No.
So,
absolutely not.
I'm going to nurse that one for a while. But, well, guys, it's PETM 80, number 80. Another, like, you know, multiple of 10 round number for us, Sherwin. How about that?
That's a lot of fun.
We have the 80 car. Not a very popular car number, as it turns out, but it does have a win. The person with the most races in that number 80 car, Jimmy Horton, he raced 22 out of his 48 races over 8 seasons starting in 1985. One of the big things he did, he relieved Darrell Waltrip for Hendrick in the 1990 Firecracker 400.
Wow.
When Darrell
I
messed
didn't
himself
remember
up
him
in
getting
qualifying or
hurt
something.
enough to have to miss a race.
Yeah, right? I did not know about that. I'm going to have to go look that up a little more. Now, only 48 races, but he's also won just about every dirt track race you've ever heard of. So name a dirt track race, and Jimmy Horton's won it. He's age 60 now. His son, Jimmy Horton the fourth, races modifieds as his dad's teammate. So he's still racing.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that
That's
cool?
awesome.
Yeah. The one winner in the 80 car, you've heard this name
Yeah, we have.
all over the PTM podcast. Jim Paschal or Pascal. I got to ask him
I think
at some point.
it's got to be Paschal, right?
Paschal, yeah, the way that's spelled like that. So he won 25 races in his career. He held, so he's won in just about every car number out there, it seems like. He held the record for laps led in a race with 335 in the World 600 until last year when Truex won.
So Martin Truex Jr. led 392 of 400 laps.
Yeah.
What was it, for 380? 380, whatever it was.
It was something crazy.
It was a bunch.
Well, Jim passed away in 2004 at the age of 77. I don't know if we've raised a glass to him yet, but we're going to do it right now.
We are right now.
Jim Paschal, ladies and gentlemen, who we talked about so many times. He drove like the 75, the 78, the 80.
He's shown up like 7 of the last 10 weeks.
And won in all those cars. Crazy. So, Sydney, we've been listening to your music, and something my wife makes fun of me for. If there's a new artist, if you're familiar with the movie Office Space, and they talk about Michael Bolton, and the guy says, I celebrate his entire collection. And my wife makes fun of me. She says, you just celebrate everybody's collection, don't you? I said, yeah. So I've been listening to your stuff. It is so awesome and so fresh and new, yet back to country roots. What can I say? What's your... tell us about you, what got you here, what you're looking forward to, and, you know, some of your inspirations for what you're doing right now.
Oh, goodness. Well, it's been a crazy road. I've been doing music since I was, 11. I got to open up my first show for Leanne Rhymes when I think I just turned 13.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And so actually right after that show, I got invited to sing, here comes the NASCAR connection, at a K&N race at the Iowa Speedway. So I got to go and sing it. I think I sang at 4 or 5. I got to sing in a couple truck races. Got to meet Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, all those awesome guys. And we're working on my first record right now, so I'm really excited. I really want to bring back the kind of 90s country feel, and we're actually recutting a Dolly Parton song on it, which I'm really excited about.
Wow. Goosebumps, Sure. When you see these goosebumps, there's 2 things that gave him that.
Yeah.
Number one, when you say 90s country, I light up.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. It's crazy.
Yes, please.
I love Nashville, and I'm kind of, I actually just got a house in Mooresville that I'm at right now, so I'm kind of living in between North Carolina and Nashville. But not a lot of people are really doing the real traditional country sound, so I'm trying to kind of branch off and do my own thing and hopefully try to bring it back a little bit.
Well, heck yeah. I'm actually going to be I'm going to be up near that way either the 31st or the 1st. I can't figure it out. So maybe we'll have to gather some Mooresville folks and go to Beverly or something.
That would be awesome. I would love to.
Yeah,
At Starbucks,
yeah.
of course, on me.
And so the second
She's got the lingo.
the second thing that gave me the goosebumps was Dolly Parton. That's awesome. Have you been working with her crew or anything on that?
I'm actually really good friends with her cousin, which has
Wow.
been really cool getting to know her. And we found out last week that she's going to be hearing the song that we're recutting.
Oh, wow.
And she cut it on her first record, and I'm cutting it on my first record. So even getting to record a song that she got to record on her first record on mine just kind of hopefully sets the tone for the rest of the year and how it'll go. So fingers crossed.
That is so cool. I've always told people that like 90s country music that they ought to get the Pandora cooked up or their Spotify or whatever and plug in Joe Diffie and just let her eat.
Oh my gosh, yes, he's amazing. I'm actually working, one of my really good friends, Stan Muncie, is the keyboard player for Shenandoah, so I've gotten to do some stuff with him.
My God.
Thank you, unreal.
So awesome.
Well connected is Sydney Led. How about that? That's so cool.
Well, thank you.
And the friends you
She
make
took
and
the
stuff.
moon over Georgia.
Oh, I love that song. It was funny. I got to go, they played a show in Kentucky about an hour and a half from Nashville, and they invited me to it. So I got to come and, like, sit right by the stage and watch their whole set, and I was, like, crying and fangirling. That's what I grew up listening to. So getting to know them and be their friend has been unreal.
Wow, how cool.
I'm near speechless.
Right?
That's our music. You're hitting home right now.
Thank y'all for listening to the PETM
throwing
podcast.
daggers. Yeah, like we're gonna have to go
Until next week. Right?
I'll have to get some of my Nashville friends on here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Music.
We're in. If there's one thing we like as much as NASCAR, it's some good old country music.
Heck yeah.
That's for sure.
Yay.
So, we got to roll up our sleeves. We got to wipe off our neck or our brow or something here.
Yeah.
Announced today, Carl Edwards
Goodness.
is now.
We're not
interestingly,
using the
not
R
using the
word.
word. Can't use the
Yeah.
R word, but not racing in 2017. What a huge hit. Sydney, did you hear about this?
I did. That breaks
Oh
my
my
heart.
gosh.
Like, I think Suarez is going to need to learn how to do backflips because it's not going to be the same without that.
That's
For sure.
a very good point.
Yeah.
But, rumors have been swirling since late December about a top driver leaving. There was a racingforums.com. Some connected folks were talking about it and pretty much saying it'll be a bombshell when it happens. And then, people speculating. And then you never know. Okay, whatever. Somebody on some racing forum said something. But an omen to Carl Edwards jumping out. Like we said, not using the word retirement. Sure, what the hell?
Well, what the hell's right? Now, I remember what I read was that they said it was going to be a prominent, like, championship caliber driver who didn't have a 5 or an 8 in his number. And so in my head, I was like, okay, so it's Kenseth. He's doing his retirement tour.
Yeah.
I did not think for a minute it would ever be Carl Edwards. And not just Carl Edwards, but like, hey, I'm not even going to Daytona. Like, we're just
Record scratch.
we're done here for now.
There's a press conference at 10 a.m. tomorrow to find out more information. I don't know if he's going to say why or whatever. Obviously, as everybody's been saying, he's a pretty private guy, not on Twitter. He doesn't have his family on the at the racetracks as much. He absolutely
Not at all now that he's had kids.
Yeah, he absolutely doesn't have kids. He doesn't talk about kids in interviews or his wife. His wife is a doctor.
He gets pissed when people write about his family.
Yeah,
He like calls them up and says, "You have to remove this from your article."
Right.
And they do.
Yeah, because it's Carl Edwards. So it's crazy. I don't know what to say. I don't want to sit here and speculate or whatever. What's this mean though for NASCAR 1 and for everybody else that's coming up? There's a ripple effect here.
Well, there's a really super positive ripple effect for Daniel Suarez.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that we could look at that any other way than being excited. I mean, Sydney, what do you think about that? I mean, I think this is pretty awesome. We're going to have, a Mexican-born Cup driver, and he's a great kid, and he's really good.
Real good.
I completely agree. I've met him a few times, and he is one of the sweetest and just good-hearted people, and I think it's really great for him. I'm really excited for him, and as much as I hate to see Carl go, I think Daniel's going to do really, really well.
I hope so. And I don't even – go ahead. Sorry. Cut you off.
Oops.
Oh, we got a little pause there.
It'll happen.
You pause for a minute.
Yeah. Just saw from Jeffrey Whitler there on the Periscope saying Edwards stepping aside is bigger than Tony retiring.
Bigger in what sense, you think? I think it's more shocking.
Absolutely a lot more shocking. A guy who's at the top of his game right now. Carl Edwards, I'm going to say this. Carl Edwards has 2 championships in his belt right now. What do you think about that, Sherwin?
Yeah, they're hanging there.
Yeah. He's got 2, I'm saying, that he's leaving out there. And if you haven't watched on ESPN, Brad Doherty sat there and talked about it, and he was pleading with Carl Edwards pretty much, just saying, you're going to regret this. Trust me. Turn around, stop, do something out, figure this out, man, because and if anybody knows, Brad Doherty's going to know about, that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, former professional athlete, NBA basketball player, predominantly with the Cleveland Cavaliers and North Carolina Tar Heels.
And NASCAR team owner.
Team owner with JTG Daugherty. Which has expanded to 2 teams. God, I'm sure they would have loved to have Carl in their second team if they could have got him.
No kidding.
And I'm sure they're happy to have Chris Buescher, but still.
I think we're all just in shock is what it is, right?
Shock is the right word.
Shock is definitely the right word.
Yeah.
I've heard so many rumors that he's going to TV, and I don't know how to think about that. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if it's right or what he's doing.
Gluck reported that both Fox and NBC have both publicly stated that they are not employing Carl Edwards for 2017.
Yeah.
Somebody call ESPN.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. They have precious few slots with the work that McGee does and the work that Ricky Craven does. So.
Well, sure, and they don't broadcast live, it wouldn't be in the booth kind of thing if it were ESPN. So I don't think it's that. It sounds like either a burnout or a just taking stock of the whole thing. And good point saying intermission. Again, not using the R word here,
right?
Or retire or anything.
Yeah. Use your words.
I saw an interesting thing on December 12th. He did some photo shoots and stuff, and he did this one video, and he was just saying, "Hey guys, blah blah blah." Carl Edwards, it's just the normal stuff that a NASCAR driver would do. But he was like, really looking forward to 2017 season. We're gonna go get him. Blah blah blah. It was like, did he know then?
Well, apparently he told Joe in mid-December. So
this would have been
indicators
right around that time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was around that time that
crazy.
He let the people that needed to know.
Yeah.
So that they could prepare for what was going to be next when it became available to us, the public.
Yep. So Tommy Joe Martins, who's going to be on in not too long from now, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it too soon? Am I
No, why not? I mean, at this point, I think we're breaking all the rules anyway.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'll have Tommy next week.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Tommy Joe Martins. I thought this was poignant. He said in one season we lost Tony, Biffle, Mears, Carl. You can add lost in the fray here, John West Townley today. So.
That's right. Chicken Man called her quits too.
Right?
Chicken Man, I love that.
Well, I have my high school buddies, twins that own 2 Zaxby's, so I have kind of somewhat of an intimate knowledge of their opinion of what John West Townley's racing career has been and how much they've had to commit to the marketing piece of that.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I just liked his little dance he did with Spencer. That was precious.
It was really cute.
Yeah.
That was so cute. Somebody edited the Titanic theme song music to the video I found on Twitter, and I was dead. I'm like, that is great.
I got to see it. I got to see that one.
That is fantastic.
I'll send you the link. I got you.
Sherwin, is this the new normal? Are young drivers going to come in and then retire early? Or I use the R word. Sorry.
I sure as hell hope not. Look at what Bill Elliott did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, we're talking about the old guard now. Where all as I think I tweeted out today, and then kind of laughed about the way the words came together, and said, all the professional sports are getting younger as time passes. And it's like, well, that's kind of an oxymoron. But that is the reality. Professional sports are getting younger. I mean, the running back's career is 2.5 years now, or whatever it is.
Right. And so we see. You're right. We see it in NFL. We see it in a lot of places. If somebody's 35 years old playing in the NFL, they get talked about.
Yeah. Well, and a great analogy from Carl Edwards to the NFL is when Barry Sanders retired.
Barry Sanders, absolutely.
After a 10-year career, he was 30 years old, and he had a lot of life left. It's 1999, and everybody wondered why he was walking away. And 10, 15, 17 years later, now we understand why. It's because he made a lot of money, he racked up a lot of records, and he doesn't have a brain problem right now.
Yeah. I mean, look at Calvin Johnson.
But that's not necessarily, analogous to why Carl might be stepping away. But that's why an NFL player might want to.
Well, it's poignant that his wife is some sort of neuroscience doctor.
Yes, he's a neurosurgeon or a neurotologist or whatever we call that thing.
Mm-hmm. So, very, very interesting. I don't want to sit here and speculate. We could speculate back and forth forever. I'll say this: if his heart's not in it, there's no reason to continue. And so I don't know if that's the case or if he's just really or distracted by something else. I don't know. It sounds like health is not a thing. We see that TV's not a thing. It's got to be more of just a mental break, it sounds like. But
yeah, a life pause, if you will.
Yeah. But that's speculation, and we'll know in 12 and a half hours from now, maybe a little more information at least, see what he's got to say. It's a press conference, so I imagine he's going to get some questions. We'll see.
Yeah, it's like 10 a.m. for him, and then I think 2 or 3 hours later they're going to do the Daniels in.
Yeah. So really cool for Daniel Suarez. Now, I said ripple effect earlier. Daniel Suarez, champion in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Who's going to be in that car?
Well, I suspect it's Daniel Suarez.
Oh, good point.
For all the companion races, at least, and the Cup off weekends.
Yep. Well, that's our Carl Edwards segment. We'll say.
Yeah, that stopped sort of abruptly, but did you ever have a chance to engage with Carl, Sydney?
I haven't. I know a lot of people that have met him and that are close with him, but I haven't gotten to meet him yet. It doesn't sound like I will next season either.
Well,
right?
There's that.
I know.
Maybe he went to pursue a career in gymnastics. He is pretty great at that.
Right.
Well, yeah, he's pretty. He's a hell of an athlete for sure.
Yeah.
Only NASCAR driver to ever be on the cover of Men's Health.
I have that issue.
That's impressive. And those backflips, though. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I can't even do a cartwheel without hurting myself. So all the power to him, man.
I can't start a cartwheel without hurting myself.
Right.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I'm not going to weigh in.
I've literally fallen down at pretty much every red carpet event that I have done, like all of them, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, my coordination is, not even.
So let's switch gears a little bit. We'll go into some, let's see. We got some questions for Sydney. Might as well throw one out there. Sherwin, why don't you ask this one? This is a fun one.
Is this the one that is relative to Matt Weaver?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So, oh, God, here we go.
So I
y'all
scouted this out on the old tweeter box. And you've seen this, so here we go.
Okay.
Word on the street is Matt Weaver's cat wants to date you. If Gotinks asked you out, would you accept?
Oh my God. You know what? He's a very handsome cat, and I don't know if you guys have seen the screenshot of the provocative Snapchat picture that Matt sent me of said cat.
Oh my!
I'm pretty sure Gotinks sexted you.
You know what? We'll just go with yes. With my current track record of relationships, it can't go any worse. So I'm gonna go with yes.
Okay, cool. We can pump up Gotinks' ego. Maybe we'll get him to ask you out.
Yep.
He's like this cat, and like Matt took him out in the snow, and he was just so chill about it. And if he's that chill in his relationships and he's that low drama, I feel like, why not?
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
I think it
does.
does.
Worth a shot.
Or I'm insane, whatever.
So we just got a comment on the Periscope for you to talk about that 66 Mustang a little bit.
Yay! That's my baby. I've had her for 2 years in March, and now I want to be a race car driver since I've gotten her.
Is that what did it? Yep. Have you
I'm
named
hoping. I've actually not gotten any speeding tickets, which I'm very proud of myself for. I've learned how to do burnouts. That's pretty fun. And you get a lot of attention from people. They're like, "Oh, is that your dad's car? Is that your boyfriend's car?" And then I smoked them at a stoplight. So, yeah.
Hell
her?
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, her name's Audrey, after Audrey Hepburn. That is her name.
Oh, very nice.
I
Yeah,
very much approve.
Very beautiful woman, too, for that matter.
For sure.
she is. Yeah, I feel like my car has the attitude to match her. She's very sassy, only starts when she wants to, and is probably haunted. I'm going to go with that, too.
That's
As any 50-year-old car should be.
That's awesome.
Exactly, yeah.
What color?
She's a gem. I mean, it's crazy. I got her at this place called Bubba's Auto Sales, north
Bubba's.
of Nashville. And it's pretty much what you'd expect. I had like the Matchbox car version of that car, so it's always been my dream car. And when I found her, I was like, all right, that's it. And I fell in love, and she's my baby.
What color is it?
She's like a creamy white with like a dark gray racing stripe.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hell yes, with the racing stripe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was crazy. I mean, she was all original, which I didn't really expect. I was like, it had to be like redone or restored or something. And she had 28,000 original miles, all the original interior. It was in a barn for like 30 years, so it was completely untouched, and still she's amazing.
So, can you tell us why people on the Periscope are heckling us to ask you about stop signs?
Oh no!
Oh no! So, I think I even had it as a listener question too.
Oh my gosh, you guys are mean.
Oh,
Everybody. Okay.
everybody's asking about Sydney Lett and stop signs, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know why.
Okay, well here's the story. So Ryan Bell,
We won't tell anybody.
Amazing adopted big brother at JD Motorsports, came to Nashville to visit me like a week ago, and so we were all at Waffle House at like 2 a.m. And I also have a 2016 Silverado that is my daily car. And I'm kind of like the Ford Chevy thing. I can't pick one, which is probably bad being a NASCAR fan, but whatever. So we're out driving around at like 2:33 in the morning, and my exit to go back to my house, there's a stop sign, and then you turn. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do this like California roll through it. It's fine. There's no one around. And of course, as soon as I turn left, here comes a cop right at me. So yeah, I got pulled over, and I did the fake tears, and I got a warning. So we're good.
That's
I think Ryan was more scared than I was. We were Facebook Living it and Snapchatting, and I don't think the cop really was cool with that.
so you got video evidence of the whole thing too.
Oh, and it's published for everyone forever.
We had video evidence. Luckily, the cop seemed to know who I was, so I kind of played that to my advantage. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll never ever do it again. I always go the speed limit. Always, of course.
In my 66 Mustang, I always go to speed limit.
Yes, of course. Well, I was always afraid to go fast for a while until I started hanging out with all my NASCAR driver friends. And they're like, the fastest you've gone is 70? Like, that's pathetic. So one day I'm driving home from Kentucky. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to floor it and see what will happen. So she'll do 125 pretty easily without shaking.
That's what you've heard?
That's
pretty good. That's what I've heard.
Somebody told you that.
I'm going to say that I've done that, but it's
on a dyno.
If I had, I would say that it was really fun.
Okay, well, since we've already introduced your friend Ryan Bell to the show, we're going to go ahead and ask a question from him. And this is a performance question, too, so you might want to get your harmonica out or whatever it is. But at R_Bell01, car chief for the JD Motorsports NASCAR Xfinity Series 01 asks, will you sing the Folgers coffee jingle for us?
Oh, my gosh. I will. All right, here we go. This part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Goosebumps.
There we go.
Holy cow.
Ryan, that better be good enough because that was really good.
And
Thank you.
I remember being like a 7-year-old and reappropriating that jingle and I'll preface by saying my younger sister by 2 years, his name is Lydia. So I repurposed that jingle to the best part of waking up is making Lydia scream. Because that's pretty much what I did every morning.
That's funny.
Okay. You got to entertain yourself somehow.
To hear you just go into singer voice like that is so impressive and so cool. And just hitting the notes. Holy crap. Like, if I were to try to do that, boy, that would be It would be ugly.
I don't have a voice, so it's
They've gotten me
don't
on
do
the
that.
improv thing. Like, I've had radio stations call me and wake me up at 6 in the morning and be like, "Oh, hey, you're live on, whatever radio station. Good morning, how are you?" And I'm like half awake, and I'm like, "Hey." They're like, "Oh, sing a clip from one of your songs. Sing something." So I've gotten pretty used to just, breaking into song randomly.
Wow, yeah. I think at 6 in the morning, I'd be like, all right, here's my latest song. Screw you. Screw you.
I'd probably just fart.
Why not? Here's a great question from a very recent guest of ours, Frank Villat. He's asking, and boy, this one hits hard. And he says, what would be the hardest to live without? Music, NASCAR, Starbucks. Holy crap.
I don't even, that makes my heart hurt thinking about it. I don't even want to imagine that. Okay, so I'm just going to go, and, this is probably going to be a shock. I could probably get rid of Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
I could probably do it. I know there's a collective, oh my God, but I probably could, because I feel like, I don't know, without NASCAR, I would definitely be lost, because those are my best friends in my family, and music is what keeps me going. So if I had to give up one, it would definitely
Well, you
be.
can always substitute Monster Energy.
True.
I could.
Yep.
Sponsor.
Yep.
There we go. I like it.
What would be the
Or I
hardest?
could always give up music and become a race car driver, and then just give up music and Starbucks, and then boom, I can go fast all the time.
There you go. You got the 66 Mustang.
I do, yeah. Try to get a
I mean,
Starbucks
that's-
endorsement,
The spirit of Ricky Bobby right there. I want to go fast.
Heck yeah. There we go. Might give those boys a run for their money. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a hell of a question, Frank. I don't know what you're doing to us here. That's a tough one,
I love you, but I'm mad.
right?
I think he did it on purpose, to
Mhm.
be honest with you, based on what I saw.
He likes to torture me. It's
I
fine.
think-
I still love you, Frank. Kind of.
I think for us it'd be like music, NASCAR, beer. Like which one would be the hardest to live without?
Music's going to hell. I'll
For
take
sure.
my NASCAR and beer.
You
I'm
take
just going to
NASCAR.
hang up now.
That's funny because I think music would be the one that I would have to keep, and I don't know. I guess I'd just have to be sober. I don't know. I'd have to take on. I'd have to pick up a heroin habit or something
Sacrilege.
just as my recreational drug. Yeah, take up some other drug or something because, boy,
It's a great one.
yeah.
Hey, yeah, Missouri's fixing to vote on medical marijuana.
Well,
Closer and closer.
you don't say. Carl Edwards home, by the way, going full circle.
That's
That
why.
was
He's
very
going to be
full
a
circle.
farmer. Figure it out.
Back onto some NASCAR stuff. Sherwin, we had the Atlanta Motor Speedway talking about repaving last week, a couple weeks ago. Now we got Texas Motor Speedway, same sort of thing, adding some drainage, flatten out some turns, opening the racing groove, drainage stuff. Mentioning drainage a couple times here. I think that's a very good move to address the drainage issues.
Well, I think as we've learned, the more you listen to these different professional podcasts like Nate Ryan's and some of the others where they actually have real guests, not real guests. I shouldn't have said it that way. Sydney is absolutely a real guest. I meant a real NASCAR personality that works in.
Ow.
No, I said that all wrong. Sometimes you just trip over what you're doing. It's okay.
I'm crying inside right now. It's okay. Words are hard. Words are really hard. It's fine.
Me and Sherwin have gotten really, I would say, tolerant of people on the mic. You might yell at people who are doing a game or something, or talking on either a podcast or a broadcast or whatever it is, and they'll get something wrong and they'll say something dumb, and we used to just get all over them,
Yep.
This idiot, I can't believe him, dumbass, blah blah blah. And nowadays we're both like, yeah,
this happens.
He made a boo boo. That's funny, and get over it real quick now.
So in the end, what I really wanted to say about that was I think it's cool that they're going to change Texas to where one end is different from the other, because I know that Gossage is really tired of the whole cookie cutter conversation, and I know the Charlotte and Atlanta folks are too. So the fact that they are really, really changing turn 1 and 2, I mean, they're flattening it from 24 to 20 degrees, which is a very big change. Opening the racing groove from 60 to 65 feet up to 80 feet. And the more you flatten it,
great,
the more
yeah.
you give guys like Kyle Larson that want to run the cushion
Yep.
a chance to be competitive, and you give a guy like Kevin Harvick and Matt Kenseth who really want to run that low line and cut the shortest distance around the track, you let those guys do what they want to do and set the race car up the way they want to race. So I don't have anything bad to say about this decision for them to go forward with a reconstruction.
Yep. A lot of repaving going on. Sydney, have you been to Atlanta Motor Speedway yet?
I haven't been. That's probably on my bucket list. I'll probably go this year, so I'll get to see it.
Well, then.
Well,
as it turns
out,
we'll
I won't get to see the old one, but
yeah. You got to come this year to see the. You'll see
your
the
last
difference.
chance to see the old one for sure.
yeah, exactly.
And we'll have we'll be there in full force. We do all the tweet up stuff, and we got we got a little bit of a posse now.
Right, podcasting live. We'll bring the whole posse, everybody on. Why not?
I mean, I don't know. At one point, it's too early to say it or not, but we got some interesting things coming up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Atlanta Motor Speedway, and of course, our avid and rabid follower and person who gave us these awesome books that came in the mail today, Jeffrey Whitler, is going to be joining us. He'll be a part of our traveling trio to that racetrack and that race, so that'll be fun.
And quick shout out to Jeffrey Whitler. Heard on the interview with Matt Weaver last week about this book. He crashed me, so I crashed him back. And or was that with Frank? I'm.
Oh, I don't. So Jeff mentioned Weaver on the Twitter today.
Okay.
That was the reason. Like, if anytime Weaver recommends you read something, you probably ought to read it.
Yeah. And so sent us 2 books. Holy crap, dude. So forever indebted to that. We owe you multiple beers and everything. We're going to read one of these deals and hand you one when you come to Atlanta. So that's going to be a blast. Let's see. Let's find us a good question here. How about Caitlin? At KSTIRRAT _.
That's my best friend, guys.
I know.
I assume that was the case.
Yeah.
This is a good one. This will give us some insight.
No.
What's your deal with Gouda?
Oh, no. Do I have to answer this? Okay.
No, you don't. You're a guest of ours. You're a guest of honor. You don't have to answer anything.
Well, I will answer it. Okay, so as y'all probably know, there is a specific driver that I have pretty much been in love with for the last 4 years. I'm not going to name names. And
what does it rhyme with?
Oh,
like
I can't tell you.
Bat Menzif or
a song I wrote about him, and this was when I was mad at him, but within the song you can pretty much figure out who he is pretty easily.
Bale Earnhardt Jr.
That is him. It's Junior. He's my secret love. There you go. It's out. It's actually Jimmy Johnson. I've been in love with him for a good 20 years. My whole life has been. No, so the Gouda thing. Said boy was being very cheesy, and I made the comment that he was being cheesy, and he said that he liked Gouda more. And so me and Caitlin have now officially nicknamed him Gouda.
Uh-huh.
So now whenever we try to talk about him when there's people that know him around, we're like, oh, that's just Gouda. We have Gouda, and they don't know him when we call him that. So that's the obsession with It sounds really weird when I say it.
Oh no, that's
it's
that's how stuff happens. It's funny. She also asks, and I think this is a great question. How are you planning to celebrate your album release?
Oh my goodness! So me and her have planned a trip to Disney World as soon as my album
Holy crap.
releases. So yeah, I'm gonna get all the glitter, like the tutu, the Minnie Mouse ears, go big or go home. So
that's awesome.
It's happening. Oh yeah.
Let's see. One question that, and this is a question from Rusty that I added, and it's not even the show notes. So, Sherwin hadn't even seen it. I've always.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, it's cool. Well, I told you, I celebrate people's entire collections, right? I've always wanted to ask a singer, what's it like to hear your voice in a song? Like, do you hear it either on the radio or somewhere else? And what's that like to hear that? Is it like, oh, cool, that's me, or is it like, my voice is weird, or what's it sound like to you?
Well, it really depends. The first time that I heard my song on the radio, I was actually getting ready for a show. This was, I think, 2 years ago. And it came on, and the first time you hear yourself on radio is the best feeling ever, because it's like my 8-year-old self's dream coming true,
Yeah.
And then there's other times when I'll hear it and I'm like, gosh, I could have sang that better. Or I could have done this line different. Or it just kind of depends on the day. But I think, at the end of the day, when I hear a new mix off the record, or I hear, I'm driving and my song comes on the radio, it's like I'm finally where I've always wanted to be. So when it comes down to it, it's like everything I've ever worked for is moments like that. It's what you live for, and stuff like that.
That's great. What does it sound like to you? I mean, obviously everybody's voice sounds a little different to them than whatever. Is it something you're like, oh, that is me? Holy crap.
Well, sometimes we were actually at Cracker Barrel one night and my song came on the radio and I started singing along to it and I didn't realize that it was me until my mom, she's like, isn't that your song? And I was singing along to it for a good 15 seconds before it hit me that, oh, hey, that's me. So sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, it's like, that's my voice. I don't know. I always sound weird to myself because I criticize everything, but it is pretty cool. I will admit. It's pretty awesome.
That's so cool. That satisfied everything I ever wanted to know from that question.
You're welcome.
I love that story too. Sitting at Cracker Barrel and start singing the song, and it's like, oh, that's my song. Shoot.
Yeah, it was great. There was one night actually. I dated a guy who he raced a couple of races in the late model series, and I had one song that we just actually released back in August, and I was driving back from Hickory and was driving through Knoxville, Tennessee, and it came on the radio, and I'm driving through the mountains, and I'm screaming and calling and trying. I'm like, oh my gosh, my song's on the radio, and this is back to the whole I have bad luck in relationships, and he's like, why are you calling me? It's in the middle of the night. So I celebrated my song being on the radio alone in the mountains in Knoxville, but it was still really cool.
That's awesome. I'm speechless. I love talking to singers, and now I'm like,
that's a good question.
I'm beside myself. I don't know what to do.
You can ask me anything.
Excellent.
I usually have good answers. I try.
Let's go back to some NASCAR, some racing stuff. Sydney, do you follow the Supercross at all? You watch any of that?
A little bit. I'm not super into it, but I've watched a couple of them.
So another Monster Energy thing, which is so cool, by the way. There's so many crossovers now.
I think this crossover stuff is so cool.
Yeah. So Supercross, Sherwin, you watched it. What's the deal?
Yeah. So and we'll ask the question first, and then we can talk about Supercross if there's any reason to or whatever. But I'll talk about how I watched it. But so this is from Kyle Larson Updates, as a guy that's been really interacting with us a lot in the last couple of months. At 42_updates, ask us, as it relates to Supercross and Monster Energy, do you think NASCAR would be open to the concept of a podium-style celebration with the top three finishers?
Good question. Sydney, what do you think?
That is a good question. I think in Cup, it would be a really cool idea. I think with the truck guys, there's so much violence. And, second is the first loser, going back to Ricky Bobby there. And I feel like with the truck guys, they might end up killing each other with all of, competition. Having them that close to each other right after the race might not be a good plan. I think the Cup guys are mature enough to handle it, and it would be really cool. But us young kids, I feel like I don't know how that would go.
Yeah, do you want to weigh in first?
So I saw this question, and I had an answer, but Sydney just stole my answer. So I don't know what else to say. No. Point is that the first time, because I'd watched NASCAR for a little while, just off and on as a kid. And then the first time I saw like F1 and they have a podium, I'm like, why do they have those two losers standing up there? Like, what's the deal with them? Like, why do they? Oh yeah, you get to stand there and watch the winners celebrate. That sucks. And
they don't even go here.
Yeah, and I think it shows a lot of passion in NASCAR when the second place guy is pissed off and he storms off and he doesn't talk to media for another 30 minutes. And then the third place guy is mad at the first place guy for something else. And I guess the only reason I would want to see it is to see if there's any like fist fighting or spectacles at the podium. But I think it's just really weird for me like Sydney said, first two losers to stand up on the stage, because who cares about second and third, to be honest?
Well, I think I've bought into some of the stuff I've read, and because it just gelled with, I think, the way I thought about it, which is, NASCAR has been very focused, at least in recent memory and in probably all of history, that winning a race is like the biggest deal. Like that is the most important thing in the world on NASCAR day, on race day, is to win the race. So having second and third hanging around is kind of like, just like you said, it's like having losers peeing on the winner's party.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like we want the winner. We want the winning team.
Yep.
Like, you guys don't get confetti. This is all me.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. And so what I would say about the race is, real quick anecdote or whatever is, I love Supercross, but I record it on DVR so that I can fast forward all the way up till I get to live. Like it's a race to get to live.
Yeah.
And so I can watch the last. It's a 25 lap feature, I think. And the leader got gone. Like, he got whole shot and he got gone. And so the rest of the race they're showing mid pack, because that's the only place where the racing's happening. It's like, only thing I could think about is, I don't mind this in Supercross, even though their season is so short, because I understand what the sport is.
Yep.
If this was NASCAR on Sunday, a cup race, people would be pissed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But, what can you say?
It's just it's a little bit different sport in that respect, but and I don't. There's really no good way to, like, you can't just like put restrictor plate
on a bike
on a Supercross bike and try to bring them all back together, because really it's a lot more about how much does this rider, like, does his skills match the surface of the track.
I was going to say, he brought the
how
right
the,
back,
yeah, how
the
the
right
surface
bike
wears,
with the right track with the right driver,
suspension setup,
checked out,
the right tire combination, because they get to pick different cleat combinations and stuff, and they get to pick their transmission. So so
somebody checks all the boxes and boom,
and they get gone.
Yeah,
like gone.
Yep. I think you just don't see that all that much in Supercross. Or I don't hear that as much. So it's not
you
like
don't
it's
see
a
him
huge
6
deal.
minutes gone. And the leader this past weekend got 6 minutes gone.
Good Lord.
And that's like 6 laps.
Yeah, that's insane. So I think in this case, it's just seeing that spectacle, just being able to see the fact.
Well,
that
and if
happened.
you haven't
Holy
seen
crap.
it in person yet, you and I should consider going in person if it lines up when they're in the dome. It is so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, I've been to one actually. Or I've been to a few. Strange fact: my grandfather was a racer, motorcycle racer, and so he would take us to the Supercross events and stuff back in the '90s. And really cool to see. We had great seats one time, sitting right at start finish in the like mezzanine section. So that was right where you could, like, they were
like eye level at 50 feet
eye
off
level,
the ground.
exactly. Like they would sort of point out at the crowd, and I'm like, that's me. They're pointing at me. So, awesome.
I'd be afraid of them flying into the crowd and dying tragically.
Well, hopefully.
Well, yeah.
Sydney, we've got we'll call it lightning round, and we've already told you a couple questions that Ryan Bell sent, but he sent a boatload of questions, and I thought it would be fun, since he went through the trouble of sending the questions, hashtagging the Ask PETM, etc. We said, you know what, let's give him his due here.
100%. Literally.
And again, art_Bell01, car chief for JD Motorsports and Xfinity Series. We're going to do this way. You give me as short or long answers as you want, but okay. I thought these were fun, and we'll have fun with them. So here we go. Question 1. Which NASCAR driver would you most like as a parent?
As a parent, I'm going to go with... Let's go with Dale. I'm going to go with Dale Jr. He's hilarious. I feel like he'd be awesome. Or Suarez. Why not? He's a blast.
Well, Dale just got married. Who knows? There may be something on the way, which I don't want to pressure anyone for that, being a 30-whatever-year-old I am. I forget my age sometimes, and no kids and whatnot. But, Sherwin, I thought Jeff Gordon on this one. Or Carl Edwards, just because, and with recent news and stuff, he doesn't bring his kids in anything. They don't have to be forever known as I'm Carl Edwards' son or daughter or whatever. So, but
Jeff would be a really patient parent.
Yeah, patient. I like the patient.
I feel like I'd be way too crazy for him though. I feel like me and Dale could he'd be the fun parent, we'd be out at bars and being crazy, and I feel like Jeff would just ground me a lot.
That's well. Could be. And Dale has the track. Has his little dirt track or whatever. If he hadn't buried it yet, I don't remember if he's whatever it is he said he's doing. Question number 2, you've already answered. Do you always come to a complete stop at a stop sign?
No, I don't.
Evidently. Better Disney song, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, or A Whole New World?
A Whole New World, 100%.
Oh, wow.
Like,
wow.
me and my friends will, like, sing that through Kroger. Like, I'll have my guy friend on one aisle, and we'll be singing the duet, like, wandering through the store. Like, no shame.
Oh, fantastic. You know what?
Whoa, hold on. Which movie is A Whole New World from?
Aladdin.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I knew the other
I'm
one.
so sad now.
Well, I'll say this. I'm glad Sydney answered, because I would have. We would have looked like two Dumbos.
Dum-dums. I love
You guys
Disney
have to
movies,
learn
by the
it
way.
before Atlanta, and we're all singing it together on
Right.
Facebook Live. Like, costumes and everything. I'm not slacking.
Question 4. Will you ever pull a Mariah Carey?
Oh my God. I'm gonna try my best not to. I can't see the future, but I'm gonna go with no on that.
I'll be honest.
Oh.
I felt bad for her, and maybe again because it's we've been on the mic and stuff, and we've made mistakes or we've seen stuff happen, and I'm very forgiving now of people on the mic. And what did you think about that?
I think it's tough. When you're in that
Yeah.
situation, when your in-ear monitors go out, or you don't have communication with your sound guys or your stage guys, you're pretty much at their mercy. And if they mess up, then it looks like it's your fault.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, I mean, I'm a little bit on her side with this. It is tough because, I'm like, when I played arenas and stuff, I mean, there's a serious bounce back for one, so that throws you off.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay in your own head completely. And if you have one guy who forgets to do his part and starts playing a different track, you're on your own, and then it's all your fault. They don't see the behind the scenes stuff. The fans automatically think it's you. So.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit, I feel like she shouldn't have been maybe drinking as much as she was that night, and things might have
Well,
gone
it is
a little
New Year's.
here and stick to the Starbucks girlfriend. But I'm right in the middle with that one. Either
All right.
way. But
Question
I
5.
hope that doesn't happen to me.
Question 5. Is it true that you eat at Waffle House 5 days a week?
When we're in the studio, yeah, I'm gonna go with yes. Like we get out of the studio like really late, and it's like, what sounds good? Waffles. It's happening.
Love it.
But no shame.
Question 6. You're on a coffee date and a guy takes you to Dunkin' Donuts. What happens next?
Oh gosh. Well, he better, like, for one, like coffee. And if he's sweet and he buys my coffee and he's okay with me bouncing off the walls while I'm, drinking 6 shots of espresso, then he's a keeper.
But it wasn't Starbucks though.
Oh, that is a true thing. Huh. If it's, never mind. He doesn't get a second date.
There it is.
There we go.
That's the hammer.
Nice.
Okay, so question 7 is, who's a better driver, you or your mother?
Oh, God. I'm going to go with me on this one, and here's why. So my mom is not used to driving my big, huge, giant truck, and I'm like 5 foot, so, I do look like a joke when I'm driving it. So, but it's fine. I climbed the tire to get in. It's cool. I'm used to it. So my mom, we're driving. I'm calling you out here. We're driving back from up in my little town. She's watching me like, what are you gonna say? Don't you dare!
That's funny.
I saw she followed us.
Oh yeah, she did. She is right here.
I love it.
So we're driving. I live a little bit north of Nashville in a really small town. Since I'm from Iowa, big city life is scary for me. So I'm in a little tiny like one stoplight town. And she is driving. I don't even remember where we were at, but she decided to take a turn that she thought there was a driveway at. And there, in reality, there was a 3-foot drop onto a sidewalk. So she just makes that turn, and it's over.
Oh,
it's
God.
just done. I thought we were all dying.
Oh,
it was
my
pretty
goodness.
great. So I'm going to go with me on this one. I think I am definitely the better driver here.
Okay. 3-foot
We
drop.
both
That'll make you
came
think
from
you're falling off a
Niagara, so I
cliff.
think she has no excuses, but,
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Wow. Okay, so regrouping. I guess we're going to go to a little bit of a dark area here real quick.
Oh.
Question 8 is, what was the last movie that made you cry?
Oh man. Well, I'm like over emotional, so like Finding Nemo made me cry. So what was the last movie that made me cry? Huh. I watched The Notebook like on the weekly, and that one makes me sob like a baby. So I'm gonna go with that one.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
So, all right, so
basic white girl.
Yeah. So I saw this question earlier, and I wanted to insert it, but it's not necessarily in this list we have right now. But it's what song always makes you cry when you hear it?
Ah.
What song always makes me cry when I hear it? Oh goodness, that's a tough one. Probably Hall of Fame by The Script is the one song that makes me cry. One of my really good friends, I lost to suicide 4 years ago, and that was his favorite song. So when things are like really tough in my life or something's going on and I'm questioning myself or I'm questioning, where I'm at, that song will come on and it just levels me every time. But it's like I know he's watching and I know he's there. So that song, whenever I hear it, that's the one that just it breaks me a little bit.
Well,
poignant,
interestingly,
Sherwin.
we have something in common both in life event and in timing.
4 years ago, our
4 years
best
ago,
friend,
our best friend also suffered the same
took
fate.
his own life. How crazy!
Oh my God.
Yeah,
How crazy.
So
That
that's,
is
life is nuts, and I wasn't even thinking about that with this song. I wanted to open this song up for you and I both to respond until we continue back to the lightning round, and I realized as I pulled out an old CD of MP3s that I had put together that the song that there's two songs that no matter what I cannot keep it together. And one was like Kelly Pickler's first hit, I Wonder, where she talks about her mom who left before she knew her. And then Miranda Lambert's The House That Built Me.
I love that
Those
song.
two
The guy
songs
that wrote
just tear
that,
me
Tom
up.
Douglas, is one of the best writers, and I got to hear his version of it from when he wrote it. And that is an amazing song. Wish I'd written that one.
I would say the one that, and I didn't get prompted with this, so I had to
No,
think
you're
real quick
unprepared.
here. But if you listen to the lyrics of Harry Chapin's "Cats in the Cradle,"
Oh my gosh,
and if
that's a
that
great
doesn't get you emotional every time, just listen to those lyrics, and it's like, oh my gosh, that is poignant. That is tough.
one. It is.
What a
It's
tough
deep.
song. Yeah, very deep, very poignant. Yeah, that one. So that one gets me like emotional. I'll say every time.
Okay, so back to lightning round.
Oh boy.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Waffles.
Chase.
All right,
I
cool.
know that was Chase.
Okay, so this isn't a question as much as it is a dissertation, a short dissertation.
No.
What's your obsession with Bath and Body Works?
I love Bath and Body Works. Okay, like no shame. So I'm packing up my Nashville house to move to North Carolina. I'm keeping both houses, but my Bath and Body Works collection is very dear to me, and I literally have probably 3 Rubbermaid containers full of it. Like glitter body spray, and you can't just have one, so you have to buy all of them. Then there's the buy 3 get 3 sales, and you can't say no to those. And yeah, I have to have it. It's like Starbucks. It happens.
Okay. Last question for the lightning round. Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
My favorite Star Wars character, Darth Vader.
There you go. I like it a
nice.
little dark.
I
Nice.
love him.
That's good.
He's awesome. So in my studio that we record at, Jamie Tate is my producer, and he is one of the coolest dudes ever. And he has a Stormtrooper helmet in the studio. And so I decided to wear it when we were tracking one day. And it's a little big for me because all the guys are a little taller than me. And I have learned that you do not try to walk downstairs when you're wearing a Stormtrooper helmet because you will face plant in front of Reva's band. That's a thing.
That's awesome.
At least you have a helmet on.
Yeah, so here's the question I would want to ask, and just derived from data you've provided us throughout the show so far. So you're
Okay.
moving from Nashville to Mooresville.
I am.
Is that for your music career? And tell us a little about, is there a country music culture developing in Mooresville?
There is now. There is a lot of stuff that I'm working on that I am actually not allowed to talk about right now. It's
Sure.
that
I love
cool.
that. I'm not allowed to
So-
talk about stuff.
It is, yeah, we had like contracts and everything. It was scary. It's like, yeah, you have to sign here and tell me that you won't tell anyone about this. So
Yeah. Well, that
I'm
means
kinda working on
that
it.
means the next time you're on and it happens, we get to talk about it.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, hey, I can even come on and like tell everyone first with you guys.
Oh,
You guys are
yes.
we like exclusive too.
So it's NASCAR's always been, my family and my heart, and I won't hide my love for Chase Elliott. We'll just put that out there. But
Well,
I've
Sherwin's in your
always-
camp, by the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
What? What'd you say?
Sherwin is in your camp on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Yay! Chase is my favorite. I love him a little too much. I got to meet him the first race I sang at, and it was like I fangirled. He like wouldn't make eye contact and talk to me, and the awkward one arm hug, and it was like the cutest and like my favorite moment ever. But
That's awesome.
yeah. So it's, yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll certainly have to have you back on to talk. Well, if nothing else, to talk about your album, March 8th, right?
Yes,
March 8th.
definitely. And it's March 8th. That's the tentative release date right now. It was supposed to be January 28th, and I got a little ahead of myself and didn't realize how much work would go into putting an album out, so we had to push it back a little bit. But with the stuff I'm working on in North Carolina, it's going to be a good year, definitely. I'm trying to do things a little different. Nashville's kind of, they're very set in their ways, and diversity is not really a thing with them. If you try to do anything different, it's not really looked at in a good way. If you, say try to do a 90s throwback album, you kind of get maybe shunned a little bit. So I'm trying to do something a little different with some people that I really think believe in what I'm really trying to do and who I really am. So.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I've found myself attached to, and I know that there's a lot of people out there would not find the lyrics very appropriate, but I've really enjoyed watching what Wheeler Walker Jr. is doing, even though I know it's super alternative.
Oh, goodness. That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like this bro country era that we're in right now, there is a place for it, but I feel like there's a huge fan base, NASCAR being one of them, that really needs that, that 90s, that real country back. And I know a lot of records, I was talking about this, a lot of records came out this year where it was just like drum loops and tracks, and there was no fiddle and no steel guitar, and everything got lost. What we came from, and like having Beyonce on the CMA Awards, like on our 50th annual, like I decided to not attend this last year because of that. And I feel like we need to get back to our roots. I feel like even NASCAR needs to get back to their roots and kind of, we all figure out where we came from.
That's awesome and poignant.
Me a little bit speechless
and
there.
great to hear from a singer. Somebody who's doing that. And Sherwin, you mentioned Wheeler Walker, but yeah, exactly what he talks about stuff too.
Yeah, he's. Obviously, it's it's a caricature created by a comedian. He's a really good artist. He's a good singer. He wrote some really awful lyrics that are hilarious if you can listen to them under the right context and not be upset by it. But
David Allen Coe all over again. It's all good.
Yeah, well, but yeah, exactly. It's what David Allen Coe's Rebellion album would be today under much more actually, in a lot of words. In a lot of ways, a little bit more docile atmosphere in terms of not offending particular sections of culture, but just using bad language and bad humor.
I actually had the opportunity to open up for David Allen Coe and my then management team. I was 15, 16 years old. And I was like, that sounds so fun. And they're like, no, you're not opening for him. You're not meeting him. You're not going to be in the same room with him. It's not happening.
It's a shame. It could have been around the time that I saw David Allen Coe in concert. And
I've seen him 3 times.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's a great...
3 really different venues. I saw him in Athens Theater in Athens, Georgia. I saw him at Beta Theta Pi at Georgia Tech. And I saw him in some field near Mocksville, North Carolina, up near Yadkinville.
Well, a fan or anything, definitely.
So me and the wife were listening to your music, and it was really cool as soon as the first song started, and I said, oh yes, this is exactly. I'm so glad we're talking to Sydney and not somebody who's just playing something and playing some fancy country bro music stuff that you talked about, and some names came up and we both settled on like she's got that Martina McBride feel is what we were like
absolutely
and
so I love her.
I do too, and boy, it feels like there's no, I won't say it. But there's a lot of country singers who are just a dime a dozen kind of thing right now, and so to see something I hate to say that different means that we have to go back to 90s country, but now it's different, and it's so refreshing, I think is the best word to hear that. So let's go one more NASCAR thing here. Sherwin, Sports Business Daily has reported on the rumor mill. They're reporting, and we can talk about this next week, but they're reporting NASCAR considering significant changes to the race formats, points distribution, etc. for 2017. We're talking about like, what do we have, Denny Hamlin? Do we have 53 days left?
49?
49?
Denny? What do we got left?
We'll have to ask Denny. But they're addressing the length of the races, some breaks and stuff, all kinds of stuff. And again, for 2017, which is insane to think that, like, well, you don't have a whole lot of time left to talk about this, but let's tackle that next week. And Tommy Joe will be a great person.
To shelve that.
Yeah. Tommy Joe will be a great person to talk about with that.
Tommy, if you're listening or if you end up watching, get ready because that's what we're going to talk about. You better be ready.
But that leads us to the PETM question that we ask every person who's on. And Sydney, what is the one thing that you would change about NASCAR? And whether that means butts in the seats, it means eyeballs on the TV, or just something that you'd like to see. We've had answers that run the gamut, so we'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
Oh, goodness. I think based on my history and getting to know, I got to go to most of the races last year with JD and with some guys at Hendrick and got to kind of spend time. And it's almost the same thing that I think Nashville's going to. I feel like they're forgetting their roots a little bit. And I feel like NASCAR, if they would go back, I mean, even to 90s, early 2000s, kind of when they were, who they were. And they remembered why they started this, and it wasn't about money, and it wasn't about, viewers, and it was just about the sport of racing. I feel like it's very much like Nashville. If they went back to their roots and remembered, why they loved racing and why it is such an American icon, I feel like that would make a lot of people a lot happier than they are right now.
You have just changed the way that I'm going to ask that question going forward. I've asked that question how many times, Sherwin? 20 times or 15, however many times I've asked that question.
Shoot, probably
and
30.
I always say, eyeballs on the TV, butts in the seats, whatever you want to talk about. And Sydney has just said, forget butts in the seats, forget eyeballs on the TV. Go back to what got you here, I read a book once called What Got You Here Won't Get You There.
Amen. That's so true.
and so, boy, that is poignant, and I love that. So thank you for that answer. I love it.
Thank you.
All right, last question. Strange with Stang.
There it is.
You've listened to the podcast before, so you know what's coming.
I kind of missed that part, so fill me in. I'm scared.
So Ashley J. Stang, who K&N team owner, and out
of Chicago,
and she was on a few weeks ago, and bless her heart, or bless our hearts, because we were trying this whole new Periscope producer thing, and
oh yeah, she had to call in like 4 times.
Oh yeah, it was a mess on the Skype and stuff. So thank you.
We put it in the ditch a couple times.
We've told her so many times, thank you for the patience there, and she was such a good sport. But she always sends us a fun off the wall question. So here it goes.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I've actually been wanting to legit ask this question for a while. Do you have an emergency snack in your car? And if so, do you share it with the passenger? What's a snack? And if you don't, is it because you ate it already and you forgot to put it back in your car? Sydney, any emergency foods in your car?
I pretty much always have hot Cheetos in my car.
Hot Cheetos.
Always. They're always in there. And I don't ever run out. Like, if I even get to where I'm getting low on hot Cheetos, I refill the stash because I cannot live without them. So
hot Cheetos, too.
There are always hot Cheetos in my car.
That's awesome.
I love it. Sherwin, any snacks?
I'm your girl. Backseat of my Silverado. There, endless supplies.
No, I have no food in there.
Is this like a guy versus girl thing? Because I know my wife keeps snacks in the car.
I'm convinced it is.
Because
especially in Nashville traffic, when you're stuck and there's no Chick-fil-A and there's no Cookout and there's no Starbucks and you're in wall-to-wall traffic, you have to have options.
Yeah. So I keep a lot of emergency stuff. So I have like in my truck in the toolbox. Of course, I've got jumper cables. I've got water. I've got toilet paper back there. Like there's everything, just in case.
But no snacks. You're slacking.
Right. But I don't have any snacks, and so maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking, I'll just figure out food. But I've got water and shelter and fire and the rest of it back here.
Well, Jeffrey
I'm
Whitler
in Iowa,
was
so
nice.
we have to have that winter survival kit. So I probably have like a whole good
a
whole public run in my back seat, just in case. Even though there's like no snow here, just in case I crash and almost freeze to death. So I'm good.
Well, Jeffrey Whitler was kind enough to announce on the Periscope that I don't need snacks because I have built-in snacks. And he's not
so
wrong.
Mean. Everyone needs snacks. What a hater!
That's good stuff.
Hot Cheetos. Don't listen to him.
Well,
I have a shout out, by the way. I don't know.
Give us a shout out.
Yeah. So one of the the positive, really positive news things we saw today was about Austin Theriault, who has raced a little bit for Obica and Ware Racing in the Xfinity Series and has raced for Brad Keselowski in the Truck Series. Has got a full-time deal racing Kenny Schrader's number 52 in ARCA. How freaking awesome is that?
Wow. And Kenny Schrader, there's goosebumps again. Third time in a podcast.
You know Kenny's going to give him a good car, too.
I only get goosebumps like one every 8 podcasts or so, and I think that's the third time.
Fourth time today.
Right? Jeez. So cool for him.
Amazing.
Sydney, last thing we want to do, let's give you the floor. Tell everybody where they can find you, what's next for you, and, a little selfish here, when are you going to be in Atlanta next?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I mean, hey, whenever. You guys are only like 4 hours away from me in Nashville. Goodness. Well, you all can find me at sydneylit.com, at sydneylit on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I just hit 5,000 friends, but you can follow me on there. I post way too much on Twitter and Instagram, as you guys probably have seen. Right now, what's next is we're trying to get the album out, and got the release date set up for that, and just kind of getting ready to hopefully hit the road in the next couple months, and just kind of, I don't know, get things rolling. I'm really excited about, this is my first record, and it's been a long time coming, and I've been writing for it for like the last 6 years, so I'm really excited for everyone to hear it.
Do you know the name?
Perfect.
Do you know the title of the record yet, or are you allowed to say?
I do. It is called Chasing Trains, and the story with that is that I was really fed up. I was with a couple of record labels that I'd been kind of in talks with, and it was very known that I would not get to be who I was if I signed that deal. And it was with a label I really respected, and it was really sad. It was like, all right, we'll sign you, but you're going to be this, and you're going to do country pop songs, and you're going to be on the road with these people who I did not respect at all. And it was just a really tough moment for me to say no to that, because it was a huge label, and it was probably maybe a mistake to say no to it. But it was in the middle of the night. It was like 3 a.m, and I took my guitar outside, and this is weird, but I write a lot of my songs in the backseat of my 66 Mustang. So I'm out there sitting in there, and Chasing Trains is kind of about my journey of, being told who to be in Nashville, and being told that who I wasn't good enough, and that, traditional country was never going to sell again, and I might as well just give up and give in to, the standards of radio now. And just something in my heart, Jesus, whatever it was, just told me to just keep going. And this song is, kind of about chasing where I want to be, and chasing, the people that I hope will be on that journey with me, and which I feel like is NASCAR. Hence the announcement hopefully soon. But so that is the title track, and it was a pretty amazing moment. We tracked that song. We had a really cool string section on it in the studio, and that was the only moment that we were tracking with probably the best musicians in Nashville, where everyone just went dead silent. And it was a song, like, I told my mom I played it for her, and I was like, I don't really want to play this, for my producer. I really don't think it's good enough for the record. And I played him, like, we had a sit down where we played like 70 songs just to see what would make the album. And he's like, this is the best song that you have on here. And I was like, whatever, it's not that good. It's just, like a work tape of me singing it into my phone. And when the track came together with all the musicians, a lot of those musicians had played on, like Tim McGraw, Brad Paisley, Dolly's records, Colin Ray. Some of the Reba, we had a lot of Reba's band in there. And they all were speechless about it. And one of the guys who played acoustic on it, he came over and he's like, look, this song really hit me. And he's like, I just wanted to thank you. And he's like, I really believe you'll be the one that brings real country music back. And that coming from someone that I respected that much was pretty mind-blowing. So I turned around to my producer. I'm like, this feels like a song that maybe I'd play at the Opry someday. Like maybe we're hopefully going to be working on that for this year. And he looked me straight in the eye. And he's the most, the Stormtrooper helmet kind of tells who he is. He's really jokey, really fun. He's like, kid, that's going to get you a Grammy nomination. I guarantee it.
Oh, Goosebumps 5th time? Is that possible in one podcast, Sherwin?
Goodness.
Holy crap.
Yes, I'm wearing sparkly cat ears in the studio and a tutu. I made tutus for everyone in the band. We had Hello Kitty ears. We had magic wands. We had glitter everywhere. And I'm sitting there in cat ears and a tutu, sobbing my eyes out for my 12-year-old Hannah Montana obsessed self who never thought I'd get here. So,
it has been a pleasure and an honor, Sydney, to have you on the show. This has been so much fun, and I can't believe it's been an hour and 15 minutes or whatever that we've had.
Crazy.
I love it. We'd like to end this podcast with the entirety of the NASCAR song that you put together. We're bringing it up right now. We'll throw that out there. Y'all know where to find us. PETM Podcast at PETM Podcast on Twitter. Sherwin
at Pregame ENG.
and Russie at Tailgate Mayor, y'all. Y'all listen to this song.
I lost y'all.
Daytona, Bristol, Charlotte, and Sonoma. We are NASCAR. Revving engines, get to roaring, fans are screaming, drinks are pouring. We are NASCAR. Drop the flag, foot on the gas, and let's go, 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 go. And it's full throttle, it's wide open, it's cold beer bottles and good times rolling. We're built for speed and we ain't slowing down. It's finding the groove, it's the thrill of the chase. It's running on fumes in a checkered first place. We're stealing wheels and racing hearts. We are NASCAR, we are NASCAR, yeah. Toyota, Chevy, and the Ford, smashing pedals to the floor. We are NASCAR, laughing, drafting, round and round. One more lap, there goes the crowd. We are NASCAR, wave the flag, foot on the gas, and let's go, 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 go. And it's full throttle, it's wide open, it's cold beer bottles and good times rolling. Built for speed and we ain't slowing down. It's finding the groove, it's the thrill of the chase. It's running on fumes in a checkered first place. Stealing wheels and racing hearts. We are NASCAR, we are NASCAR, we are NASCAR, we are NASCAR, The only way we know is fast. No holding back, no holding back. Let's go, 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 go. And it's full throttle, it's wide open, it's cold beer bottles and good times rolling. Built for speed and we ain't slowing down, no. It's finding the groove, it's the thrill of the chase. It's running on fumes in a checkered first place. We're stealing wheels and racing hearts. We are NASCAR, we are NASCAR, we are NASCAR, we are NASCAR.